No pun intended. Episode 27. I am back on the mic. Thank you, Matt, for covering for me last week. How's it going? How did the solo podcast go?
Went really well. I bored people to death. I did a little screen share, whiteboard action, how to plan an opening repertoire. Everyone, I think, fell asleep by the end, but the nice thing about that is they left their YouTube streams open while they fell asleep.
Well, that's good. Yes, it counts as engagement even if they're sleeping because YouTube doesn't know if they're sleeping.
That's right.
I'm only kidding, actually. I was just checking the stats this morning, and that one was like our fifth most listened to podcast, and it's only been out for a week. So that one is actually doing very well. And actually, our top six podcasts are our last five, and then number one by far is Azel's interview. Number two is Dane's interview, and then all the other ones are like episodes 20 plus. But I'm a little sad I was not here for last week's episode because it was episode 26. And what is significant about episode 26, Matt? Do you know?
You're 26 years old
I'm not
today.
26 years old, but I appreciate you saying it. 26 is halfway to 52, which is 1 year. So we have been doing the podcast for 6 months. Isn't that crazy? Here
Yeah,
we are.
that's insane.
Yeah, here we
I
are in June. And you know what? It has not felt at all hard or like a chore. It's just been a delight the whole time.
I agree with you. I remember when you said in the beginning your goal was to do one every single week. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, that sounds nice, but I don't know if it'll happen or not. I mean, that's a lot for us to keep coordinating and things come up and it's middle of summer. But yeah, 27th week now. So thank you, Jesse, for kind of keeping us going.
Yes, we have persevered through business travel, having a baby, being sick, travel for personal reasons, all these things. We've only had to do two solos, and here's some inside baseball. We don't have any stored up. We literally do these live to get them out every week. A good business person would probably have some stored up just to like have some filler weeks, but we are not good business people. That being said, let's go into the agenda today. We are talking ChessGoals newfound Twitter fame. That'll be fun. We'll start there. We're also talking Hans Niemann news. He announced a bunch of matches, which I think is actually pretty interesting. Clash of Claims trademark is happening again. Clash of Claims 2 with the exact same name. Hopefully they don't get sued. Levy Rozman is playing in a tournament, and he actually just won as we started streaming. So congrats to him on the round one win. Superbet Classic, the Rochester Open, maybe even get into some pickleball. A packed agenda. Thank you all for joining us today. If you are joining us from Twitter, thank you very much. We're going to go over some handy dandy Twitter memes. Let me get my screen configured.
All right, we're
uh,
doing the screen share.
yeah, I'll do the screen share, but I need to actually get the window up. We got a good shot of Matt's dog. Those of you viewing live will have got a very close-up shot of Matt's dog. Let's check out these chess memes that have been giving us so much clout on Twitter. I'm not gonna lie, guys, it's a ton of fun. I have always liked Twitter, and it only recently occurred to me that I could actually have some fun with the Chess Goals business Twitter account. So I think what's actually funny here is our bio is data from hundreds of chess players tracking how they studied, how much they improved, study plans on the website from us. And the last week, we've been posting completely nonsensical, makes no sense memes. And I'm not going to lie, Matt, I kind of called my shot on this because I was showing you this ridiculous Twitter account that was posting all kinds of ridiculous data. I'm like, I could
Yes.
do this. I could do this for chess, and I think people would think it's funny. And okay, so here's where it all started. Sorry, you audio only listeners, but I'll try to describe the memes. So this is just like posting nonsensical data. So this is the current top 10 ages last year versus ages this year. Hope this is helpful. And it's just Magnus Carlsen a year ago, 32. Current year, 33. Naka, 35, 36. And it just goes up by one. It's exactly what you'd expect. Very helpful chart showing you how to get 1 year older. And we had at the time about 400 followers, and this got 40,000 impressions, almost 600 likes. I can't believe it went that viral for the dumbest little thing, but I am here for it.
Well, this is a little bit morbid, but I think the chart does show that none of the top players passed away in the last year.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone survived.
Yeah.
I had many questions. Let's see if I can find it. I had many questions asking a projected age, and so for the next year, and so I ran the numbers. Next year, Magnus is 34. I couldn't figure out a couple of them. So Fabi, 30 to 31. This year, projected age 2025, indeterminable. And I could not come up with Wei Yi either. Indeterminable 24, 25. Next year is TBD. Can't be sure. Um, so from there, let's just go through the other ones I've posted. So at last, my follower count matches my chess rating, 442 followers. Not bad.
Yes.
Here's how the top 10 would change if you remove all their games against Capablanca, which is very interesting. Magnus would be 28-32 current, and after you remove all his games, he's 28-32, so he never played Capablanca. And actually, the same is true for the entire top 10. So no one has ever played Capablanca, and so all their ratings would be the exact same, plus or minus zero, all the way down.
200
Um,
likes.
yeah, so what do you think about that data there, Matt?
Looks good to me.
Yeah, fair data. Okay, next one. Has your interest in fashion negatively affected your chance to become the world chess champion? This is kind of like a Venn diagram. In the obviously not circle, we have Magnus, Jan, Gakesh, Arjun, Fabi, Anish. In the haha, yeah circle, we have uh, Alireza Farusha. And we have a third circle of Hikaru Nakamura, and he just says, Bishop f4, knight g3, g6, knight e4, knight e5, take the juicer, and if h4, the rook is trapped. So king h1 is forced, but then I have a knight fork winning that endgame. So he's just calculating. He's just deep in the tank.
I thought that post should have done a lot better. I loved that one.
I know
The haha, yeah, was great.
this is one of my favorites, and it just kind of didn't quite make it. Didn't quite make it, but that's all right. Uh, okay, let's go over a couple more. Okay, so World of Statistics posted the top viewed websites of 2024, and I pretended like ChessGoals made it. We didn't make it, but we were probably close to the top 20. This is just the dog pooping on the member datafication data verification project. So we had another one like this where the dog was pooping on the London system, but the stupid they just keep spamming us about verifying our data, and nobody cares and nobody wants it, and it seems like a scam. So
That's a
that
great
one's
post.
yeah, that meme speaks for itself.
I think
Um,
we've only hit on 1 for 3 in the dog pooping post so far, but we can probably
yes,
get the next one 2 for 4.
yeah, that's true. And I feel like the dog pooping meme has kind of run its course on Twitter, so that one didn't surprise me, honestly.
I got an idea.
Okay.
Dog pooping meme on the dog pooping meme
Okay, that's a
on
good one.
something else. Thank you.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Thanks.
Okay. Most recent one today, dividing the top 10 ratings by two. And when you do that, none of them would even be close to the top 10, not even close. And then probably not even GM. So Magnus Carlsen would be the highest, 14-16. And that's like not even that good if you divide his rating by two. I have a follow up. It says, for context, if this is Gokesh's rating, his odds of winning the world championship is practically zero. Basically, no chance.
Could add one more row to this one. Sorry to
Yeah.
keep throwing out suggestions. I'm not going to say the person's name, but the left column could be rating with stock, rating with phone in lap, and the right column, actual skill.
That'd be a good one. That'd be a good one.
Thanks. Yeah.
Uh, and I did have one person say that only two of these would be actual ratings because FIDE doesn't recognize anything under 1400, which is very interesting. One follow up on Gakesh odds of winning the world championship. Someone said, well, have you seen Ding's form lately? And that's kind of a good point. Ding might lose to a 1400. You never know.
Oh, jeez. That's brutal.
I'm just kidding. Okay, that's our Chess Goals Twitter fame. If you want to follow along, you can. And we're just having fun. Thank you for all like 120 people who have joined on board the Chess Goals Twitter over the past week or so. It's been fun. I'm just hanging out. I'm just having fun. Don't take us too seriously. But we do have real stuff on our website if you're interested. We have real free courses. We have paid courses. We have study plans. Check it out at chessgoals.com. Topic number two. What do you want to go to, Matt? Clash of Claims, Hans Niemann.
Let's do
Which
Clash
one?
of Claims.
Clash of Claims. Okay, so if you guys remember Clash of Claims, Jocelyn played Kramnik, and it was terrible. Honestly, it was not a good event. Um, The problem was that the Chesscom servers were actually not good. There was serious time bugs where Kramnik's clock just kind of went to zero. Um, they had to reinstall the operating system on the computer after every round per Kramnik's request, and all the updates, and it just was very slow and very boring. So they are redoing it in the FIDE Online Arena, which I guess you can play online chess there. FIDE Online Arena. Um, Levy was not happy, and I am not super happy that they just kind of stole their branding. Clash of Claims 2. I did see a follow up tweet here that they spoke with the CEO of the World Chess. I think it's like Emil something. Don't quote me on that. And he basically
Yeah.
said, yeah, we're sorry. We're going to change it to something else. So this is happening again, 19 through the 21st of August. So mark your calendar. I'm still interested in the result, honestly, but I don't really care that much about the event. What do you think?
I'm gonna mark my calendar to make sure I'm not browsing the internet on those days.
Okay. Okay. Take that, Kramnik. We're not
I
watching.
well, so Jesse and I were talking about this before we came on air. I think there should be a way for chess tournaments to let you face someone across a table where you can both use a laptop or a phone without any lag, whether it's Bluetooth, a LAN cable, something, because then you could play 1+0, you could play 3+0. And the tournament directors will have zero issues with pieces flying and things like that, as long as there's no clock issues.
Yeah. It'd be cool. We were talking about this like it's like the old school, like having a sleepover with your buddies and you connected the
Yeah.
Xboxes with the LAN cable. That works great. And there's no lag. Could totally do that with chess and bullet. But I don't know, Kramnik's kind of a security expert, so he may think that someone could hack into the system, which is not a valid point, but he might think that, and so he probably would not agree to it.
You would need a new LAN cable for every game, I think.
Yeah, probably. You'd probably need a new Xbox for every game.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, Hans Niemann. So Hans did something that I am actually quite a fan of. He announced a series of blitz and not even blitz match, just chess matches. So he is playing a few different players. So he's playing Anish Giri. Have you ever heard of him?
Draw niche.
Dranish. You know what? One of my goals on Twitter is to get Anish to acknowledge us. I think it can happen.
Let's
Think it
do
can
it.
happen.
You
So
can
that's
get there.
August that's August 7th through 11th. So it's a 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's a 5-day event. First day. This is a pretty grueling schedule. First 3 days is a double round of classical. So 6 games. That's a lot of classical chess. I wonder what the time control is going to be. Possibly game 90. Day 4 is going to be 6 rapid games. That's another hefty load, and then day 5 is 12 blitz games. So
Wow.
that's a lot of chess in 5 days.
So I'm trying to figure that out too. The 3 days of double round robin classical.
Yep.
Do
So
you
two
think,
games of classical.
do you think those are like the 5 hour games though, or they're going to go a little bit faster?
They'll probably do game 90 with
Okay.
maybe like with 10-second increment or something. That's what I would guess.
Or 90
Um,
30 maybe.
yeah, that's true. Um, okay. Opponent number 2. So that's August 7 through 11th, 14th through 18th. So he gets 2 days off. In London versus Nikita Vityugov. I'm not sure who that is, honestly. Do you know who that is?
He's a pretty strong GM. I want to say 2650.
Okay. So, uh, for sure, strong player. Hans gives himself 1 day off. 20 to 24, he's playing in Paris against Etienne Bacrot. I don't know how to say it. One of those.
I think it's
um,
Picro.
Bacrot. Okay. And then one that is very exciting, August 29th through September 2nd, Nihal Sarin. That is a stiff matchup for sure. How do you think Hans is going to do in these?
I mean, I think Anish crushes him. I think Vitugov probably also beats him. I looked him up and he's right around 2700. Picro is probably going to beat Nihal. I think Nihal's got to be the favorite there too. I don't know. This is a tough schedule. I think these are great matches though because they all could go either way, with the exception of Anish probably. I mean, Anish is just super good.
If I'm giving one lock, it's a niche. If I'm giving a second lock, it's Nihal. Because Nihal in the Rapid and Blitz, I feel like is world class, one of the top few.
Yeah.
Classical too, obviously. He's a favorite over Hans. And on top of that, Hans is going to be doing his fourth one in a month. And so he's probably going to be wiped. He's traveling Utrecht, then London, then Paris, then Sharjah to do all these matches. That's a heavy load. So he's either going to be super sharp or completely wiped out. Okay, let me throw another thing. What are the odds that he cancels all these before it happens?
I think that's decent. Maybe 25% chance that none of it happens. Is What do you
this
think?
is this is smelling like a Twitter meme. But I don't know. I wouldn't put it quite at 20. I think most of these are going to happen. I would say 95% that at least two of them happen.
You know what's cool too? All these players are pretty young. So I thought Vitugov and Bakro were quite a bit older.
Yeah.
I believe they're both in their 30s, or maybe uh Bakro was born in 1983. So he might be 40. But it's like
Yeah.
everyone's 40 or less.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. I don't know. I hope it goes well for him honestly because I want to get to the bottom of whether he's cheating. I mean, I don't think he's cheating. I think a lot of people do not think he's cheating. But if he can go out and prove himself against all these players, he's going to kind of put that to bed. 25% chance we get to see Matt pet the dog. That can happen. We can make that happen. Yes, this episode brought to you by nobody. We tried Liquid Death, didn't happen. Matt's taped out the can. Did we ever hear anything back from Liquid Death?
Nothing. Radio
Their
silence.
their sponsorship was Liquid Death Silence. Is there a pun there? I don't know.
You should tweet at him maybe.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'll tweet at them. That should probably get their attention. Okay, Levy Rozman has just played his uh, next his next tournament on his road to becoming a grandmaster. So he played round one today. And let me give you a quick spoiler, guys. Levy is not going to get a GM norm this tournament. He just does not. He does not qualify for a GM norm. Even if he wins every single game, he's not playing enough GMs. So you need to play at least 3 GMs in a tournament to get a norm. So that is unfortunate. So yes, Matt.
Will people be Googling though how to get a GM norm?
Yes, they better. Because every time Levy plays, we get a massive spike in traffic for people figuring out how to get a GM norm. I could actually check our traffic right now to see if people looked at it. Um, okay, I'm gonna look it up just out of curiosity. But um, do you think this is a good or bad decision from Levy? What are your thoughts on him taking a tournament that's not even for a norm?
I think it's a great decision. I think he's got to play a ton, get his reps in, let some practice things. And really, he needs to get his rating up. He needs his FIDE rating to 2,500, I believe. So yeah, get playing people and see if you can gain some rating points.
Yep. Okay, so teeny tiny bump in in the traffic today. Just like a handful of people googling how to get a GM norm, so nothing substantial. But I think this is bad for his YouTube channel because he's not going to get a ton of views to get a GM norm. But I think him taking a tournament where a norm is off the table from, before he makes his first move, I think that tells us that he is actually serious about making a run here. Like he's playing a tournament to get some reps in, get some good games in, boost his rating. I think he is for real. And based on his form last tournament, I think he's got a chance. I think he's got a serious chance.
So you think because he's in a tournament where he didn't handpick the field, run eval bars on his laptop 10 feet away from his board, that he's serious now?
Yeah, now he's serious.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, yeah, so I don't know. We were talking about this. Like Levy co-organized his last tournament where he played so well. Did he handpick his opponents? Kinda. I mean, there were still legit very good players, including some young up and coming juniors who he played very strongly. So you can't take away his performance for sure. And I just count it as a huge win for him last tournament. But this is a different ball game. He's playing in the IM section, so a bunch of players are going to try to get an IM norm. He's kind of a gatekeeper. He has one GM in his section that he'll probably play later on in the turn. Exactly sure where. But it'll be some good reps for him to get some players lower rated than him as well. So I'm not sure his ranking in the tournament, but he's somewhere kind of in the middle.
And today, he played a Caro Khan.
Yeah, he did play Karakhan. Should we go over a couple moves?
Sure.
Okay, let me share my screen.
I'm looking at the list of ratings, and it appears that he is number 2 by rating, actually. So he's 2348. There's a 2409 GM. Every Oh, there is a 2351. So he's number 3 based on rating out of 10.
He's third. Okay,
Yep.
let's look through some of Levy's game or moves, I guess. Let me get this
And I was just joking, by
recalibrated.
the way, about setting up his own tournament, in case anyone's
Oh yeah,
wondering.
yeah. I know Matt's humor, but
Yeah.
other people don't. All right, let's look through a few moves here from Levy. So flip the board. This is all in the chess goals repertoire, all the way up to here. This is all chess goals theory, still theory. But the move he plays, neither of us liked at all, and it doesn't make any sense. Bishop? What is Bishop E6 here? Interesting to see what he says in his analysis. Do you think there's a plan here? Is he looking to just like get Bishop D5 in for tempo?
That's what I thought, but he doesn't end up playing bishop to d5. So I don't really know what the point is. I mean, it guards f7, and it's very possible that he didn't feel well prepared for this line, and maybe he had this as sort of a trick sideline that, he's looked at a little bit and his opponent hasn't looked at it all. That's my guess.
Yeah, it's not like losing or anything. Eval is standard, small edge for white, but then he goes for our plans. This is what we recommend in all our lines: bring the knight over with tempo, and then yeah, fianchetto, and then weird he plays our move. So we would normally get this position, but we have an extra move. Um, so I don't know. It worked for him. Whoops, I skipped all the way to the end. Let's go here and find the critical moment. Bishop d8, easy win. Look at that move. Rook d6, attacking the bishop and also threatening this discovered check. So white is going down at least in exchange, and he converts this very smoothly. One thing that is so interesting, so in this position, his opponent resigns. One thing that is so interesting to me is that this game just looked effortless. Like didn't really give it much of an advantage, played solid, and then as soon as he made a mistake, capitalizes on it, wins. And it's like these very strong players make it look so easy. Like they just hang on, don't give anything too much up, opponent blunders, and they win.
And one thing that I thought was crazy with this game too is his opponent's an FM. And if you look at the level of blunder that he made, it just goes to show that it can happen to anybody, right? FM classical game, pretty elementary blunder there, missing the rook fork
Yep, for sure. It's kind of inspiring. Like, okay, I could have played that move. I could play Rook D6, Devil Attack,
for
but
sure.
I couldn't have stuck in that position for so long. So I get that as well. You wanted to talk a little bit about the Super Bet Classic?
Yeah. So I pulled up the standings for this. Pretty interesting so far. 10 rounds. Oh, yeah. Okay. 10 rounds, four-way tie for first. Prague, Fabi, Gukesh, Alireza. And then there's a three-way tie for fifth, MVL, Jan, and Anish. And then followed by Wesley So, Nordebek, and Bogdan Daniel Diak in 10th. So what do you think of the final standings with the four-way tie, Prague, Fabi, Gukesh, and Ali Reza?
Strong group. Were they all candidates?
Yeah, I mean that's like probably the four, well, three of the hottest players in the world. I don't think I would count Ali Reza. And then Fabi did win the tiebreaker, going 3 out of 3. So he
So
got the
he
gold
won the whole
medal.
thing. Yeah, I saw the standings and the huge tiebreak, but I couldn't figure out who won the tiebreaks because the interface was so wonky. So Fabi came out on top. Awesome.
Oh, question for you guys in the chat. Who followed this event? Because to me, it wasn't publicized very well, even though we have a lot of huge names in it. And I don't know if that's just because we have so many different events going on that it kind of got passed over. Did you follow it live, Jesse?
I followed it a little bit because there are so many big names, but it seemed like no one is really playing all that aggressive of chess. Like there was a ton of draws. I think at one point Fabio was in first place with +1 or maybe even +2 after like 8 rounds or something. And then he ended up losing in the last round or something like that to force a tiebreak.
Okay, maybe we need a Twitter post like a Where's Waldo, where we show the cross table and it's like find the win, find the non-draw.
Find the non-draw. Matt, you're full of them. Why am I doing the Twitter account? You got to
I
get on
don't know.
that. uh, yeah. So yeah, interesting tournament there. Fabi wins the tiebreak. I always root for Fabi. I'm a huge Fabi fan.
Yeah, I think he's just such a good guy. Um, I would like to see Nakamura do better though, just because he's so interesting and polarizing. I
Yeah,
think we need that in chess. We need a world champion that excites people to talk about outside of the chess world, even.
yeah. We need Hans to win the world championship, please.
Yes.
First American world chess champion, Hans Niemann. Uh, did you want to talk anything about the Rochester Open? So Matt played in a tournament that must have been last weekend. Went in with no prep, no nothing, and he texted me after every game, just like, "Okay, how'd it go? What happened?" First game, pretty smooth win, right?
Yep. First game. Well, I blundered a pawn, which
Okay,
I
that's right.
immediately followed up with a queen sack. And then my opponent blundered like 2 moves later. I won the end game.
Nice. Next game, loss, right? You lost against a 2000-ish player.
Yeah. Well, he's a USCF master, but his current rating was like 2110. I
Okay.
played the modern defense in that one, and I actually had a couple good chances to get big advantages.
Hmm.
And I think it hurt me that the fact that I haven't been practicing, so I didn't have a great feel for the pawn structure. And he just ended up outplaying me strategically. So I lost that round, round two. So I was 1-1 at that point against two experts. Round three, I played another expert, well, less than 2200 player, I should say. Round three,
Yeah.
another player under 2200. This one was a symmetrical English from the white side, and everything just petered out to a draw. I wasn't able to find the moves that created chances, even though there were a few of them during the game. So, end of day one, 1.5 out of 3, and I was not having any fun playing chess. And I think I told you this in a text, Jesse. It was like,
Yeah.
I just wasn't playing well. All three games were taking like 3 hours. So, it was 9 hours of chess. Wasn't playing very well, 1.5 out of 3. And I knew in the back of my mind that I'd probably already lost like, I don't know, 12, 15 rating points, which is really going to be hard to pick back up in just two more games. So that was day one. I was
And
not happy and I almost wanted to withdraw.
and what was your rating going into this tournament?
So with the USCF floating decimal point, 2200.8. So I was zero point 0.8 points above 2200. And this is something that I've been struggling with psychologically. I know I'm going to drop below 2200, especially if I'm not practicing or studying. And I need to mentally prepare for this fact that I'm past my UFC prime. I'm not in fighting shape anymore, 38 years old, and it's going to dip below 2200. It's inevitable and it's going to probably happen soon. So after day one, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm probably down to 2185, 2187, somewhere around there. And I won't be able to even get 13 points on day two. So that's
Yeah,
kind of where I was at,
and you're
just
like,
not
am I
feeling very
ever
good.
gonna get back to 2200? Like, that's a
Right.
lot of ground to make up, especially at the Rochester Club. Like, those are tough points to pick up.
Yep.
Okay, so day two round. So it's a 5 round tournament. Round four, you got a pretty smooth win. Is that right?
Yeah, it was a young guy named Ajay. He was, I believe, 11 years old and really nice kid. We analyzed afterwards, and his dad was sitting there with us, and he's super into basketball. And I told him I liked basketball too. And then he was just quizzing me on all these basketball things because I played through 10th grade. And he's like, can you dunk and all these different things. It was pretty funny.
Wait, can you dunk?
No,
Okay.
well, I said I definitely can't dunk now, and even in my prime, I couldn't dunk. So
Okay.
now it's not even close. So that game I was black and I played a check Benoni. That's where you do that like V pawn formation against D4. You play
Mhm.
C5, E5, and then D6. And he sacked a knight right out of the opening.
Hmm.
And Stockfish didn't like the sack. It was a knight for two pawns, but he was able to ruin my castling. And I made a couple mistakes right after that, and he had a chance to be +3. And I was thinking, like, I'm gonna lose this game after having such a tough day number one. I was like, man, I'm gonna lose. And his rating was 19 something. So he was under 2000.
Okay.
And fortunately, I was able to fight back. I found a couple nice tactics, and I won that game. So winning the first game on day number two, but still not feeling that happy with the event. It was a beautiful day out too, and I was like, man, why am I just sitting in this stuffy chess tournament right now, not having fun?
And then round five, last round, Matt wants to get out of there. He wants to just cut his losses, go home, and he gets paired against the one seed, one of the top players in the whole event. He's rated 2299. This is Jackson Wool. And
Yeah.
so take us through this crazy game, Matt.
So this is 60-minute time control with 30-second increment. I stopped home in between games to have lunch, and I lost track of time. I showed up 7 minutes late to the game with 60 minutes. In every game, pretty much in the past three events, I've just been trying different openings every game. I don't play my main stuff. I just mix it up. I try to, play something interesting. So this game, I tried to play a note boom from our dynamic Slav course, but Jackson had a tricky move order, and I blunder a piece essentially on move number 7, where it was like I had a choice between blundering a rook or losing a rook or losing a knight. And I decided to give up the knight. So I had one pawn for a knight on move 7. I was ready to resign right there and just go home and end the tournament early. Because another factor with me wanting to be done with the tournament was my wife was leaving for a vacation very early Monday morning. And this was Sunday. And I was like, I wouldn't mind getting home or, a little bit early just to spend a little more time with Kelly before she leaves. So I wanted to resign around move 7, Jesse. And I didn't do it because of the embarrassment of tipping my king with like 35 boards, 70 players all in that ballroom.
Yeah,
I
because
did not want to tip my.
you've been playing for like 6 minutes, right?
Yeah, I was 7 minutes late and probably played for 6 minutes after that. So I was like, I'm just going to go to move 15. I'll resign after that. In my mind, I'm thinking over 99% chance that he wins. Like, that's why to me it was resign territory. I was really not even thinking I could save the draw. So then a moment comes up right at move 14 where I'm able to sacrifice my queen. So what I had to do was I had to sacrifice a queen for a rook and a bishop. And it's going to be hard to explain this on the podcast. But, anyways, when the dust settles, I was down 5 points of material. I had
Yeah,
a bishop and a pawn for a queen.
yeah, that's right.
And what I was
But
thinking,
you
yeah,
had a passed H pawn on H2.
yeah, but I had a pass H pawn. And then I just start pushing this H pawn up the board. Every time I had a free moment, a move where nothing was really happening that was urgent, I would just push that H pawn, push that H pawn. And I can't remember exactly which move the psychology started to change. I want to say it was around move like 20. I'm looking at my score sheet here. Around 22. So he had 47 minutes. I had 35 minutes. And all of a sudden, I was thinking, he's not putting me away here. And if anything, I'm creating a couple little things for him to think about with his H pawn running up the board. I had pretty active pieces. My bishops were on good diagonals. And then on move 23, I find this idea where I sack another pawn. So I'm down 6 points of material, but it creates a passed B pawn for me. So I have a passed B pawn and a passed H pawn with a bishop that's pointing at both of their queening squares. And he's got a rook on the back rank trying to guard them both. and I have like an active knight moving around his king, and his king is sort of boxed in on the second rank with his rook on the first rank trying to guard everything. And all of a
And
sudden, I start to think I might be able to draw this. Like if he has
eh,
to sack his rook for one of my pawns, then I'm back in the game.
yeah, and keep in mind he also has an extra queen, and so Matt is still completely dead, but it's a little annoying. Like he's got some
Yeah.
threats, he's got some passed pawns, he's got a bishop in the middle of the board that is controlling everything and can't really move, like you can't get rid of it. And so your opponent is sweating and okay, keep going. What happens?
Okay. So then he uses his queen to go win my b pawn. So I'm down to one pass pawn. And I get my h pawn all the way up to h2, one square from queening. And he moves it attacked his rook on g1, so he had to move his rook away. And then instead of promoting the h pawn right away, I had this idea where I can actually use my knight to try to get my knight to g1, guarded by the h pawn, so it'd block off his rook, and then I could just push the h pawn and get a queen. So I'm trying to prevent him from sacking his rook for a pawn
Hmm.
because I knew I would still be worse there because he still had the queen on the board and he was up 6 points of material. I didn't want him to be able to sack the rook with a pawn. So I do this knight move and he messes up. And then we're in draw territory, actually, with best play. He moves his king. And then I have my very last piece, a rook sitting next to my king on the eighth rank on f8. I slide that rook all the way across the board to the A file, which is an open file. And my rook is ready to drop down to the second rank with check. His king can't go to the first rank because I'm going to promote my h pawn cleanly. And this king had no moves to go to the third rank. And some kind of miracle, this move was a completely winning move because he had no way at all to stop the rook coming to the second rank with check. So he
Insane.
went from like completely winning to a draw with best play and then like a move later, a loss, all in a span of three moves. I actually, Jesse, I felt he resigned on that move. I felt really bad because he's a friend of mine and I had no business even drawing that game. It took me a while to actually kind of be happy about the win because I didn't feel good about playing that out for so
Yeah.
long.
Yeah, like you almost feel bad just like even continuing like down a
Yeah,
piece and then you say, okay, yeah, I have a bishop for my queen. Like I guess I'm gonna keep making moves and then like the board just kind of comes alive. It's so crazy. Yeah, I think you got to make a video reviewing that game or posting the PGN somewhere or something.
I did put it. If you're in our Discord server, it's in the OTB and Slow channel. I did put a link in there, so Mitch, you can check it out.
Yeah, and premium members get access to our Discord. If you buy a course or something like that, you can get into our Discord and check out that study that he posted.
Oh, updated rating
Yeah,
2202. I don't know
he
the floating
gained
point, but I gained 1 point from 2201 to 2202.
he gained a point after all of it, so he stayed above the 2200. Do you believe in
Actually,
miracles? Yes.
yeah, that's a really big part of the story, Zelda. I'm glad you asked because it took playing at 2299 and the miracle win just to save me to stay back above 2200 because Jackson and I were the only players at that point that had 2.5 out of 4 in our whole section. Otherwise, I would have played someone probably rated around 2000 and I wouldn't have had a chance to get back over 22. So somehow all the stars aligned and I was able to do it.
That's got to be one of your best wins too, right? 2299. You don't players that high rated that often, right?
Yeah, it's got to be up there. You're right. Usually I don't play even masters.
Yeah. So crazy, crazy end to that tournament. Congrats for staying above NM rating.
Thanks.
Fun swindle. We had a local chess club event that would have been last night, and Matt went over these games, and we went over a few other games from the tournament. So that was pretty cool. Um, yeah, I think that is going to do it for No Pun Intended, episode 27. Thank you all for joining us today. If you want to tell us thank you for the podcast, you can do that in form of likes, subscribes, and ratings. And we want to thank you very much for watching, for joining, for following on Twitter. And we will see you guys all next week. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.